Good morning. I've got some great news for everybody. I haven't been able to sleep for many nights in a row because I'm forever before the throne of God. Because I'm knocking, I'm seeking, I'm asking God because I have these needs, and God gave me the keys, to death and hell, and He also gave me what everyone's been seeking for in the targeted community. He gave me the missing 49th key that the Masons have been searching for, and CERN has apparently discovered that opens up the abyss. And he's also given me the key to throw Satan back into the abyss and to put a seal on him for 1,000 years. If you're willing to hang out with me, I would be happy to relieve everyone who is hurting and in great dire straits, and who are still held chained and bound by Satan. God blessed me for some reason, and I have no clue or why he chooses this one. I honestly believe that everyone has collectively diversified gifts and talents and offices and functions that collectively, that if we'd humble ourselves, that we would all be one together. And because I pray for the lost, and because I pray for the daughter of my people, because I will not sleep until I see a healing, not only in me, but as well in them. And I offer up to God a great sacrifice. But he, in his word, for it's written, if you offer your sacrifice unto the Lord, he said, and you have aught with your brother, or your brother has aught with you, to first go to your brother and confess your fault to them, to be reconciled to your brother first before you make your sacrifice or petition God with some kind of an offering or sacrifice. So I would like all the targeted individuals that are being persecuted to know that God gave me the remedy for every single one of us around the world. He's given it to us. And in my next video, I'm going to explain what's going on with the locusts that come out of the pit, Apollyon, Shiva, and how to cast the dragon, Satan, that serpent, back into the abyss with all the locusts. For God cuts it short in righteousness for the elect's sake. Yeah, he cuts it short. He cuts it short only to his children, to the elect. But before we go there, I'm committed to going about it God's way. The last 2 days, for 10 hours straight, I couldn't let it go. I've been carrying such a weight. I've been so vexed. The things that God is revealing to me, and this has everything to do with making America great again. Actually, Christ returning to the earth. It's going to be like a fire that burns in one little place. And today, that fire is all over me. It's going to be a spark, and then it's going to begin to be a flame, and it's going to burn. That sounds like a Johnny Cash song again. God gave me a new song this morning. but I'll tell you about that later. Yeah, and it ain't from no musical artist, it's straight from heaven. But I want to go to, I want all my listeners to swamp these YouTube channels like Deep Fake Rob and the most targeted individual, a man named whose channel's name is Talok, and Frank Brown specifically. You know, I know that I behaved myself terribly wrong, and I attacked people. I kind of took a shit on their sidewalk, and then, you know, it was pretty much a superficial apology. I felt terrible, but it really was insufficient. It wasn't enough. And and so I'm humbling myself before, you know, all of YouTube and all the subscribers, that you would go to them, you know, in my behalf, with the most deepest sincere apology on my part, that, you know, that they might find it in their heart to forgive me, and forgive others that, you know, have done the same thing, because we're going through the fire and we're being attacked and we're being crucified. And then, you know what, the scum is coming out of us, all the venom and the poison, because we're being murdered. And we often take it out, or, you know, that poison comes out of our mouth just like a serpent's venom, and we didn't intend to hurt or harm somebody, but nonetheless, the fact is that we have, and we do, until we can figure out what's going on with us. So, you know, to, you know, Frank Brown and to Deep Fake, or, but specifically I'm using to Loke and the most targeted individual. If you subscribers would go to them and say, hey, you know, there's this guy that's talking about you, and he's begging, he is just begging for your forgiveness. And I know these men are key players. They're going to be key to helping and redeeming all their followers, if we could just work together, because my next video is going to break it down, and it's going to give them, you know, it's going to give them money in a figure type, in a, you know, in a, you know, kind of a, yeah, a figure type, you could call it you know, metaphor, you know, that's going to give them riches in a sense that they can digest and see if they can use that in any capacity whatsoever. And I also want to offer to them, you know, if there's anything that I have that they could use, you know, in any capacity whatsoever, if there's anything that I can do to help or encourage or provide for them, time, resources, assets, or, you know, consideration, you know, I want to lower myself and offer to them my service, my prayers, and my encouragement to them, because these people that I just said, they're key, and key to helping many people. I have the deepest respect to these four people, and, you know, I want to extend that also to some of my friends that God's put in my path in life, not by coincidence. You know, my God is sovereign. You know, there's billions and billions that come, they are, and they will, you know, that they were, and that they are, and that they will be, you know. And then God had such a sense of humor, he put just a handful of people in my life, you know, like Tiger and Sticky and Hammer. You know what? There's no coincidence. I would also like to humble myself and beg you guys to forgive me for being a total jerk, you know. And it's very troublesome. You know, my heart is, you know, it's vexed, and I just extend my hand in grace, that, you know, in order for me to offer a sacrifice successfully to the Lord, before I go out and deliver this next message, I have to first go to my brothers, to my mom and my dad, and make things right. And just ask them, can you find it in your heart to forgive me? And I'll lower myself. Is there anything I can do to serve you? Just like Jacob did to Esau, his brother. It took the resentment and the grudge. Yeah, it took it out of them. And so we remit their sins if they'll remit ours. And then they're loosened in heaven. And the reconciliation, the heavens retain the presence of the Lord Jesus Christ until the restitution of all things. And then he gives you increase. You know, I used to be a professional, in the flesh. I was a professional MF. And you know what? I was brutal. I still can be, but I choose not to be. My friends were murderers. Yeah, they were. They were brutal. And you know what? I fit right in with them. Back football used to be everything to me, and I could give a flip about anything else when I was growing up, and I didn't play by the rules. If I was a hockey player, I would spend most of my time in the penalty box. I would push it all the way up to the edge without getting thrown out. And I didn't play by their rules. I played to win. And it was psychological as well as physical. And so, back in 79 when I graduated high school, God blessed me with this psycho kind of a mentality that we as a defense, even though I played both ways, was probably one of the only guys that played both ways, that they made me a monster man on defense. I could pretty well much do any damn thing I wanted to do. And I could blitz, or I could have one of my Confederates blitz, and I could play any position, anywhere, anytime I wanted to. I called the shots. I was the monster man. And guess what? I was. And most of my life, I've been a monster. It always starts out in the flesh, just like Trump and Benjamin Yahoo. It starts out in the flesh, and they're going to go about it, leaning on their own understanding, and by the strength of their flesh, they're going to go about it, and God's going to crush them, and they're going to be converted. They're going to surrender, and then guess what? They're going to represent the spirit, the free woman, the offspring of the promise, and they're going to do it God's way. This is how it's always been from the beginning. Cain, Abel, Ishmael, and Isaac. And Esau and Jacob. It's God takes us like the two fish I shared with you. God's always there with you, but it starts out, he establishes the foundation of the world. It starts out in the sea, and it goes to dry land, and then it goes to the heavens, and then it comes to the becoming the image of his son. It's a process. It takes 3 days. Yeah, the world, the earth, and the heavens. 3 kinds of flesh. But it starts out in darkness. And we just did what everybody else did. We were like a fish in a school of fish. And until finally we saw that bread that was cast upon water, and we took that bite, and we were drug up on the beach. And you know what? Someone hit us with a 2x4 and threw us on a grill somewhere and ate us. Yeah, it's a process. Those 2 fish, it's the love of the Father and the reciprocation of the Son to the Father. But to get back to my story, because I'm gonna bring deepfake into this, because I have the greatest admiration, because he's key. So I played defense, and sometimes I got deepfaked by people like Deepfake Rob. And, we'd study the enemy, which would be the offense since I was defense. We'd study with films who the key players were. And I look at Deepfake Rob as being one of those key players. And so we would study them. Not so much. He could have been a quarterback. He could have been a tight end. But anyway, we studied those people. We keyed in on them because they were key, as far as running, our adversary. They were pretty much key to destroying them. So sometimes I'd get deep faked by a tailback or a fullback because you know what? He had this inherent gift. He was key to their success, and so we keyed in on them and we wanted to hurt and rob him of everything. Take it all. And so sometimes I'd get deep faked and I'd see that there's no way that I could have caught him, on the other side of the field. And so as their teammates were gloating and watching, thinking they were going to score or something, I would clear across the field. I would blindside one of the players and lay him flat in front of their bench and stand on him and taunt the entire team because, you see, never say give. I'm always putting it to them, But when the game was all over, when it was finished, we all shook each other's hands. And, and we showed respect and honor to whom honor and respect was due. And I would look to that key player with great admiration and honor. And I'd look him in the eyes because, he was worthy. But at the same time, he'd remember me too, because for the next 3 days and 3 nights, because I probably broke his ribs and he was bruised all over, that I maimed him. Yeah, that he'll remember me. So deep fake, well, there ain't no deep fake in this camp. And you can fake a couple people here and there, but we talk about Jesus here in this camp. Because instead of a pyramid, we've got Hiram's high tower here, and we protect that spring of water just like Hiram did. And the key to every targeted individual is in this camp because God honors those that honor him. Yeah, and I'm thinking that maybe instead of deep fake Rob, that if we can just come together to the table here, which seems to be at this present time a little cold, but that we could come together and instead of deep fake Rob, that your channel would be called the Mighty One. Because we need not just defending ourselves, because we're being overrun by the enemy with blind leaders of the blind that teach the rapture, bullshit liars who are blinded, that have no idea what the resurrection is. They have no idea how to go about it. These people are blind leaders of the blind, and they're leading other people into captivity, and they presently are in captivity. So I'm inviting my brothers that I've offended to come to the table today, that we can reason together, because I have the deepest admiration. They ain't getting hammered for no cause. Sticky, Tiger, Hammer, my brother, God didn't put you in my life for naught. Deep fake Rob, salute, brother. I love you. I do. And you know what? You are a professional and you're key. And I'm asking you guys, and I'm asking my subscribers to go to them, because my next video is going to break it down to them, how we cast that old serpent, that dragon, back into the abyss, and that we put a seal on him, and that what God wants to break to you today or very soon, God willing, is going to be able to help all your subscribers, and it's going to be a flame that will burn, burn, burn. Just like the day I got married in a fever. Yeah, hot peppered sprout. First date I think I took my wife on. We were drag racing a Camaro, and I saw those red and blue lights behind us. State trooper. Yeah. Well, I left a deep impression on my wife because we outran that state trooper in a 66 Chevelle SS. And, well, you know what? We can go back and we can learn a lot of things. How God has spared us and kept us alive so that we can, for this very hour, for this very purpose, we were predestined for this most targeted individual. And I'm human just like you, you know. I'm just carbon, you know. Unless God gives me the increase, I can't rise above it. And no man can do anything save it be given to him from above. And so many of us are beneath. And we need to reconcile our differences and work together. We're a lot stronger. 3-4 cords are stronger than one, and they're not easily broken. So, but anyway, yeah, we got married in a fever, and wow, it was it was hotter than a peppered sprout. But yeah, I woke up this morning with a new song, and you know, if you look at Revelations 5:9, when God opens the scroll and he undoes the seals, that he gives us all a new song, and only they that will know it. But anyway, maybe I'll sing that song. But you know, God fills the words in. Like, I don't know why I can't. Apparently, I'm not supposed to sing it to you right now. Only I know it. All right, I love y'all, and I want you subscribers. You know, I don't want all men to be drawn unto me. I really don't. We're working. This is kingdom business. This is for that we bring glory into the kingdom. You know, and you know, part of building a fence around the roof of this new house that God's building, it includes subjecting ourselves one to another. Besides being bathing one another in prayer. But it also means being accountable to one another. And it also, yeah, it does. Yeah, accountable to one another. And those that are over you in the Lord deserve it, rightfully double honor. You know, when we work together and captains rise up, yeah, and officers, as God is taking a consensus and everybody's being tagged. You know, just like the football, you know, playing it pat. You know, it starts out in the flesh. Look what I did. I caught this pass and I got a touchdown. Yeah, tell me about it. I know. Been there, done that. But when I left high school, I had the Air Force Academy and other colleges come and say, you get a free ride, brother. Come. You know what? We want to play football for us. And you know what? I left those childish things behind. Yeah. Not that my ambitions were altogether better. You know, I wanted to be an outlaw motorcycle club rider. Yeah, well, that came to fruition. You know, but here I am. Yeah. Am I? No, I am. I'm a son of God. And there's no question about it. All right. So you know what? I don't play games anymore. Right? I go for the throat. You know what? I'm going about it. I'm going to do it his way. Love y'all. Peace, brother. You know, blessed are the feet that bring great tidings of joy and gladness. Yeah, that publish peace throughout all the land. As you, the brothers that I identified, as we make peace one to another.